Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is combo number 2. I am Tom Flores.
I'm Travis Baker.
And today we're going to be talking about
Deadshot and Harley Quinn and the Outlaws.
Suicide Squad. Now, it has been out already for a couple weeks. I enjoyed it. Travis, what did you think?
I don't think I'm breaking new ground by saying it's better than Batman v Superman, because at that point the bar is so low with that movie, you can only get up. So yeah, this is probably the most fun I've had in a DC Extended Universe movie, but even then, that's not saying a lot.
No, for this,
there is a lot wrong with this movie. I'm kind of middle of the road. Like, I'm just gonna jump ahead and say I don't care whether you see it or not. I really don't.
Okay.
Like that's my recommendation. I do not care. It's just middle of the road for me.
Well, since you're on the middle of the road, what did you like first, and then what didn't you like? What do you want to talk about first? The cons or the pros?
I think David Ayer is a better director than Zack Snyder.
Okay.
And I think he was trying to do something interesting and more substantive. And I'd be very interested to see a director's cut of this movie, because it's kind of like, once you realize... Okay, so the word is Warner Brothers finally saw the film after David Ayer finished the original cut, and they didn't like it. It's very clear to me from when they announced this movie, this was going to be rip-off / competing film to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Obviously, yes.
It's obvious that they were going for that. I'm not as versed in David Ayer's work as you are. You've seen End of Watch, Fury, and Training Day, but when he was just writing. I don't know. Does Guardians of the Galaxy and David Ayer make sense in the same sentence to you?
Not the way Guardians of the Galaxy was executed.
Okay.
It definitely his movies involve around a group. Obviously in Training Day it's just 2 people, as well as End of Watch, but that group, they're either forced or they make a very tight bond. In Fury, it is a tight bond.
Okay.
Except for the new character brought into that tank brigade, but that's different. But it does involve a group and a tight bond, either forced or they created.
Okay.
In this one, it was a group that was forced, but at the end they created it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yes, but not. But obviously, like you said, this was Warner Brothers. This was DC's Guardians of the Galaxy. When it shouldn't be titled that way. It should be just, this is Suicide Squad.
I feel like they were trying. That's what the studio was going for.
Yeah.
I don't know why they picked David Ayer for that. I don't know. Does his movies seem like sort of match the whimsical with music, wit, sharp, funny wits?
It can be wit. Okay. It can be wit, but not whimsical and like
James Gunn's
fun.
Kind of wit.
No, not fun, because as you've seen from his movies, just from the 3 you just said, those 3, those are serious dramas that also tackle certain issues. But there's funny moments where you just bust out laughing because, wow, that was hilarious, or that was a funny scene. But overall, no. That's why, since you said about when they first saw the original cut, and then we heard about they're doing reshooting almost 2/3 of the movie,
God.
I bet that first cut had that bond of the characters. Now, in a forced situation, they created it. There were some funny lines, but overall, it was a serious tone. And I know I've talked to a couple people who've seen it, and some people feel they don't like DC overall because they think they try to take themselves too seriously. It's too serious. Marvel's more fun because, remember, these are superheroes. It's supposed to be fun. These are the comic books. They're geared towards boys. True in a sense, but you can still have seriousness. Like, for example, in the DC universe, we have Watchmen, a very serious, very, very serious story with funny moments, but it can still be serious. That's why personally I like DC, because to me, the seriousness is more realistic of how the superhero complex is. When you're a superhero, you are walking the fine line of, do I do good in the sense of how I feel good, or in good in the eyes of the law?
Yeah.
So that's why I think he I want to, like you said, I want to see his original cut before the reshoots. But also too, as we know,
before they got like a trailer park of editors to work on this, figure out the cut they liked.
Well, because here's the thing, like when you're saying that, when the first teaser trailer came out, the first trailer with that the Bee Gees cover of I started a joke. And the whole world started crying. Like that trailer?
Yeah, the slow trailer.
That to me was phenomenal because you saw there was going to be a little funniness here and there, like that one-liner kind of feel, not more bantering. But this was going to be taking an interesting subject from a comic book. Yes, once again, comic books are geared towards mostly just young boys.
Yeah.
Not even young kids. It's boys. But for this, I could see them taking this idea of like, hey, guess what? The government. Our government, but also to any form of government, is forcing villains who have killed a lot of people, battled the heroes we idolize. Let's get a group of them, the best of the bad, force them to do suicidal black ops missions that will never be on the records. If they succeed, good for us. If they lose, good for us because we'll just throw them under the bus. And that's a serious thing to think about because that's taking like almost a superhero complex, but now with villains being forced to do good. How do they feel about that? Because at their core, they're bad guys. They do bad. Now they're being forced to do good to get something in return, but how do they feel about it? So I think that original director's cut we all want to see would have been interesting because that is a serious subject that's going to be interesting to delve deep into. And then when the next trailer came out, which, yes, I'll admit, the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer was a good trailer. That was a good trailer. But then it's like, what are you selling me?
Yeah, and of course, Bohemian Rhapsody, I saw it as, okay, Marvel, you got hooked on a feeling 2 years ago? We'll raise you a Bohemian Rhapsody, yeah!
Yeah. And
that's what I saw.
Yeah, and because what we saw from the first trailer.
Yeah.
I bet you might be still thinking that, but not as much if that was the first trailer. You see what I mean? That was the problem. They switched.
It's like the studio. Okay. Yeah, again, I feel like they got the wrong director for this. 'Cause Marvel mostly, like, picks directors that haven't really done that much. And that helps them kind of coach their directors on making the movie they want. Like, Kevin Feige's really good with that. That's why a lot of people criticize, the Marvel films, they feel so formulaic. They feel like they're done the same way. It's like they feel like they're in the same universe.
Because they're in the same...
and they're also competently made, which is this case... It's like, oh, well, Suicide Squad's got a bunch of misfits together doing crazy stuff, and they're an obscure group. We'll make a movie because it works for Marvel. Who's a big name right now? David Ayer! All right, we'll get David Ayer on it. He's good with groups. But then they saw the cut and they realized, oh, this isn't the Guardians of the Galaxy movie we wanted. We gotta make some changes, buddy. Mm-hmm. At least David Ayer is being a good sport about it. He's saying, I believe in the film. He's not blowing up like Josh Trank did with Fantastic Flop, where he, on Twitter, I made a fantastic version of this movie that you're never gonna see. You see anybody hiring Josh Trank? He got kicked off a Star Wars film. At least, so David Ayer's being good about this. A good company man.
So that's the unfortunate thing that we're never going to... Hopefully you have a chance if there's a DVD release of the original cut. But right now, what we have is this one, which was a reshoot. And
the re-edit. He got chopped.
Yeah. The thing
this thing got chopped.
Is the thing. There are some pros in this movie.
Yeah.
There's some fun stuff that was enjoyable. Obviously... Number one is Margot Robbie. That was an amazing Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Margot. I've said it from the start. When I heard Margot Robbie was cast in that role, I thought, okay, that makes sense. That I could totally see her as Harley Quinn, and she delivers
even more
with what she was given. She delivers.
Yeah, and she embodied it perfectly. Her personality. It was from the comic books, from the cartoon series that we all watched as kids. Like that. That's Harley Quinn. But now the physical version, not just the vocal. We got the physical Harley Quinn, and it was beyond phenomenal because it was psychotic but adorable and lovable.
And it might make your 12-year-old little brother hit puberty a little sooner than he realized.
Yes, she was definitely sexed up, which makes sense.
Full disclosure,
but it worked. It wasn't distracting. It was like, this is awesome, and that was just the cherry on top. Because if she was in the Jester outfit, I still would have been in love with it. because it was so good. Her performance was phenomenal. The way she delivered
her outfit, actually.
That's what I'm saying. No,
I like it a lot more than her other outfits.
Yeah, it was great. And then I enjoyed. I don't know. I can understand for the people who've read Suicide Squad why they did not like Will Smith's performance. I felt Will Smith was fantastic.
Will Smith's doing Will Smith, which is really
which
is not bad. It's not a bad thing at all.
That's what you're always going to get, no matter what, because it's Will Smith.
Uh-huh.
That's the reason why you go to a movie, because hey, it's Will Smith being Will Smith, but in this situation.
Yeah.
And people who are upset by that, it's like, well, obviously Will Smith's not going to act like Deadshot from the comic books. He's going to be Will Smith. So if you're upset, no, here's the thing. For people who are comic book fans, you're upset. I understand that. Don't direct it at him. It's the casting directors. Mm-hmm. Because when you cast Will Smith, but you get like that's the thing. Because Will Smith, I loved how he acted. I loved the way he delivered his lines. I loved how in his head all that mattered was his daughter. Or the line he said, "I want to let my daughter know I'm more than just a piece of shit." And I was like, I felt for his character. It was great. I loved the way that shootout scene in the streets, where he just took over and the SEALs stopped shooting because they're like, "Oh wow, he really is good." That was great. He was believable.
Yeah,
I think the mask he could have been done without it. If we're gonna
he didn't wear it very much.
Yeah, there's honestly just the little glass thing over his eye. That's all he needed, and he was great because all of his because first of all, you never want to cover up Will Smith's face. His emotions are key.
Why do you think in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, like they made every excuse for him not to wear the mask because the actors like to show their expressions and the directors want to show that hey, there's a performance, there's a person under there. It's probably why the Marvel movies have not gone with the full masked hero. Well, except Black Panther
and Iron Man.
But I'm expecting Black Panther to have his mask off 70% when his movie comes around. When it comes
to a movie, it's different than the comic books because in the movie it's all about whatever actor you hired, the facial expressions. Mm-hmm. Unless it's CGI or they're playing a robot.
Or their mouth is showing, which is like why you can get away with that with Batman and Captain America. In their eyes. What else?
I enjoyed. I mean, I haven't read it. The only thing I know about Captain Boomerang is from the Justice League animated series, which they didn't connect. But this Captain Boomerang, I wanted more of him. I think him and Killer Croc weren't used enough. They were just throwaways.
Oh, absolutely. I liked Jai Courtney's performance as Captain Boomerang. Again, you know what he should have been? He should have been like bad Hawkeye. Think about it, because like you said,
he
wasn't used enough. But say what you will about Hawkeye, we always make a joke that he's like the most useless Avenger. At least in the movies, when you see Hawkeye shooting an arrow, doing something with his archery skills, he's doing something with his archery skills, and you take notice, and you'll probably remember the moment that he did something.
Yeah,
I don't remember one instance where Captain Boomerang used a boomerang. I feel like he mostly just punched and stabbed other things.
The main thing was when he had that little camera on it. That was it. But I noticed you're actually right.
Yeah, what?
No, that was interesting. Because of a boomerang, he did throw it a couple times, but he mostly used them as small daggers. I noticed. Which was interesting, but
there's nothing clever with that, though. It's like, he's just a muscle guy, then.
Even though
if he has boomerang, I'd like to see him doing something clever with the boomerangs. Yeah. Like, embrace that whimsical comic bookiness.
Or, rely on it more.
Yeah.
Because that's his weapon.
Exactly.
Because when you said he's the muscle, Killer Croc obviously was the tank in the group, which we saw, which was cool. He was the tank. I did like how they made people certain things in that group.
Killer Croc, he's played by... I'm not going to pronounce his name. I just know him as Mr. Echo from Lost.
Do you know he was in The Mummy Returns, that actor?
Okay, yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
That was awesome. I was like, I didn't recognize it because of the voice. And then when I looked it up on IMDb, I'm like, I love this guy.
There were some of his lines that were like...
badass.
And some that were groaners, too.
No. Oh, yeah. I loved the line of, I live underground. You all just tourists. I was like, yeah, you are. Killer Croc's Killer Croc.
Some of the timing of his lines didn't work for me.
Because and I think that goes down to the editing, though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff felt like
hacked
or
hacked a bit.
schlocky, as you've said, or not unearned. And I knew, I'm like, oh, this is because it's just... It honestly, for this movie, the flaws come down to the editing. Because honestly, everyone did great, except Enchantress. I didn't understand some of the stuff. Enchantress. I didn't get Enchantress.
Yeah.
But other than that, you could tell
this
movie was good. It's just then the editing took away from like a very great... Because for example...
fucked it up because they didn't know... It's like, they knew what they didn't want. They didn't know what they really wanted. Yeah. And it's...
And then here's one...
I've been there, like, because full disclosure, I work at a job where I, like, make videos for my university's student government organization. And I've been in a position where I've made something. And I've made something as, like, a client project. And then they say, oh, wait, this isn't really what we wanted. And I'm thinking, this is on the script. Is on the script we approved. We went through a process, and then they say you gotta change some things. And I feel like that's exactly what happened here. You could get away with that in my job, but you're making a feature film. The studio, the people in charge, the producers, they should already have an idea what they want, and they should be like, I don't know, helping Ayer along, like keeping a leash on him. This isn't one of his personal films. This is one of your big studio corporate projects.
If you want it a certain way.
Don't let him run amok.
If you want it a certain way.
Yeah, if you want it a certain way.
If he didn't, because for him, he's going to do his thing. You hired him for that reason. If you want your own thing, hire someone else or talk to him. Like, you're basically
studio interference is okay. As long as you're interfering correctly. This is bad interference. And this is saying, oh, we got to fix it in post.
And this movie is a good example of that unfortunate interference because it had great potential and what we saw was great. For example, Viola Davis was the perfect choice for Amanda Waller.
Yeah, perfectly
She executed it perfectly. The emotions, everything was in her eyes. The way she talked, the way she... the way she forced the squad to turn on each other at moments. It was perfect. It was perfect. I think they made every casting choice, except two, were perfectly done.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We'll get to those.
We'll get to those too. Other than that, though, it's like you could tell it came down to it was like a move. It was like almost like it was like you give It's like, okay, you got a bird. You set it free, but then all of a sudden you remind the bird, oh, hey, I have a leash on your foot, and you put it back in the cage. It's like that movie could have soared. Mm-hmm. This was the movie that was going to be the best installment. I know it's not saying much, but this was going to be the best installment in this DC franchise we've seen, starting with Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Now, it was good.
3 strikes.
It wasn't bad.
Writing this whole universe.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was like, you know what? At least I felt entertained. Which, yes, a movie's supposed to do that, but also too, it could have done so much more.
There's also a logic problem in this movie with how they've sort of introduced the idea of the Suicide Squad in this movie. And I know that this is probably going to ruffle feathers of people who like Suicide Squad comics. Mm-hmm. When David Harbour's character is like, if Superman turned against us, ripped the roof of the White House out, kidnapped the president, who's going to stop him? And Amanda Waller says, I got a team of metahumans that's going to, that are just as powerful, that can take care of the job. There's only 2 metahumans in this squad. And only one of them would actually be kind of useful in fighting against evil Superman, which would be Zod. And that is Diablo.
Diablo.
Slurred that one. Diablo, because, she can do all this morphy stuff with fire. And he's the only one that's actually effective at fighting against their villain. But Harley Quinn? What the fuck is so special about Harley? No,
she's just psychotic.
In this scenario, what the fuck is so special about Harley Quinn? Oh, she's Joker's girlfriend. She's crazy. She can whack things with a baseball bat. What, did she get training from Batman?
Yeah.
Is she highly skilled? No, she's just crazy. Mm-hmm. Deadshot can shoot things. But Superman, I guess kryptonite bullets.
Yeah. But I understand what you mean because...
Captain Boomerang? What's Slipknot gonna do?
I understand what you mean because when he said that line, I was like, well, Superman's dead because Suicide Squad takes place, like let's say a month or two after the events of Dawn of Justice. So it doesn't make sense to say if Superman did that. It's like, well, he's dead. So you can talk about the next superhero person.
It's like someone just as powerful as him.
Yeah, that's what they should have said. Because at the beginning of the movie, when Amanda Waller's talking about when Superman flew, the world changed. When he died, the world changed again. Mm-hmm. Even though this Superman was on the side of humanity, good, the planet.
There might be.
What about the next one?
Yeah.
And I loved her thinking. Her thinking was so far steps ahead because honestly, for her, the way they portrayed Amanda Waller, I saw her more as like, I'm not protecting my country, America. I'm protecting this planet.
Yeah.
I'm going to be one step ahead. I'm not going to be like, oh, we're just going to protect the United States, where most of this movie takes place. And it's like, no, we got to protect the whole world because this is much bigger than us.
She's on the
because Superman is not a metahuman.
No.
He's not human.
No.
He's Kryptonian. He's an alien.
He's super powerful.
He's an alien.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So she's thinking we had an alien invasion. We got to think global. That's why I liked her.
She has the right idea, but her approach to it seems really stupid.
Well, you just needed two of them. The Diablo and Enchantress, if anything, but...
Yeah, or you could have taken that idea as revealed in the mid-credits scene and just set up the Justice League. Why are you going to get these, level, sea-level power villains to do your dirt? Like, as you said before, the idea of the Suicide Squad, and I know this, my only exposure really to the Suicide Squad was really the Arrow version, back when they were still on Arrow before they had to kill them off for this movie. But yeah, it's like they're villains that are used in Black Ops missions.
Suicidal Black Ops.
Yeah, suicidal Black Ops missions.
Where for
this movie is not a suicidal Black Ops mission. It's like a dumb Marvel villain.
Well, actually, it starts off because one of the chaperone of the squad, Rick Flag, couldn't let his emotions run the best of him. In a sense.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, if you really think about it, this whole movie is Amanda Waller's fault anyway.
Well,
because Enchantress is like... It's like one of those things where everything's kind of too connected. Everything's a little too interwoven. Nothing's really independent. So Enchantress is using the host body of this archaeologist.
Jude.
Yeah. Played by Cara Delevingne.
I thought she was better as Jude than Enchantress.
Yeah.
As Jude, I felt so much emotion from her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember that one vision scene Rick Flag had of them in bed, and she's like, "It's okay, it was a nightmare." I was like, from those two lines, I felt everything.
Oh yeah, but she's like, so yeah, she's exposed to this Enchantress thing, and she happens to be working for Amanda Waller, and Amanda Waller happens to have the thing that's like keeping Enchantress in check. Oh shoot, Enchantress gets loose, steals the thingy, and then is blowing up Midway City, and that's just happens to be the opportunity when the Suicide Squad goes into action. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay.
Therefore, this whole movie is Amanda Waller's fault.
Okay.
So it actually kind of makes Amanda Waller come out like a fucking idiot. It's like, this is all your fault!
Okay.
It's all your fucking fault, yeah. And that's not... It's like, okay, this is where... Okay, back to the whole Suicide Squad is a Black Ops group. This is where Joker would have come so handy. Joker is terrible in this movie. In screen time, Jared Leto's performance is like surface level crazy person, or surface level creepy person, I should say. But I didn't get Joker.
I saw random chaos, and I know chaos is supposed to be, yes, in a sense, random. But as we know, the Joker, he does have a plan.
Yeah,
it's almost a controlled chaos. This was random to me when I saw him, because also, even though by title he is a mob boss in Joker, because he has men, he acted literally like a mob boss with bling, and he has a strip club, and so I was like, what?
It's like it's like someone's trying to do like a seedy version of like a very, very, very seedy, dirty version of Jack Nicholson's Joker. It's like, okay, but his performance was like, oh, look at me, I'm crazy. Don't you see how crazy I am? Look at all these tattoos all over me. I'm so seedy and dirty and repulsive. But so again, it's very surface. He didn't even tell a joke.
No. And I didn't like that the
Joker tells great jokes. You can read a Batman comic, and Joker will say something, and as horrible a person he is, you're still going to laugh at something he says.
Yeah.
You're still going to laugh at the stuff that Heath Ledger says, because it's, like, insightful. And it really gets into Joker's idea of, you know, the whole world and the way it operates is one big joke. I didn't get that with this Joker.
No.
He's on there for less than 10 minutes,
like
probably.
Four or five. I'd say 4 or 5.
And maybe he was in more scenes, but it just felt like this is a poser dressing up as Joker.
And
this is like a copycat Joker.
And since you said surface, that brings up, which is one thing that I told you a little bit later on, a while ago. I didn't like that his smile was the tattoo. Yes, the Joker we see him smile, but the signature smile was on a tattoo on his hand.
Oh, that
because
like
as we've seen him before, it's either the person's actually smiling. It was prosthetics for Jack Nicholson, scars for Heath Ledger. For this one, it was a tattoo, so it wasn't even a part of the body. It was something. It was something put on. Yeah. That's why I didn't like that smile, because I'm like, that's your smile. That's how.
He's got tattoos all over him. He's crazy.
And they gave him a catchphrase.
What is his catchphrase?
His catchphrase is, all that chit chat's gonna get you hurt, because he says it twice, and the second time he said it, I'm like, really? That's what we're going with? A catchphrase?
Did you only remember that because that was in the trailer? One of the trailers, right?
Yeah, but that part was in the movie, and then they said it again in a different scene when he got the main prison guard, in that debt situation.
Okay.
So when he said it the second time, I'm like, really? We gave him a catchphrase. We gave the Joker the Joker gets a catchphrase. The Joker should never have a catchphrase.
The Joker doesn't need a catchphrase. He lives by multiple choice. He can choose from so many.
But he's given one. That's why I was
so quick-witted.
That's why that was one thing I didn't like. And I was expecting a lot because of the caliber of actor Jared Leto is.
And how he was plastered in every trailer. They even have like a little thing where you can look closely and you see his eyes and smile.
You see the J.
Background of that neon poster. And I'm like, oh, great. This is going to be a lot of Joker. And, Joker's working the underground of crime. You could do a Black Ops mission with that. No, we're going to fight crazy wizard people with, ancient whatever people with the big laser in the sky and creating mindless minions fit for the Power Rangers to fight.
And that's what didn't make sense. The whole time, so the main villain is Enchantress. Mm-hmm. And she keeps going on when she frees her brother from the same tomb she was freed from, is that they're going to make a machine because since humans stopped worshipping them, because I guess thousands of years before they were considered gods, the humans betrayed them and now worship machines, which I'm like, okay, yeah, social comedy right there, in a sense. Yeah, social commentary.
Yes.
In a sense. Okay. From an ancient being's point of view, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to make a machine. I never saw one mechanical object she made in that blue beam of light.
Well, I guess she never got to finish the machine.
She was like doing it was a 24-hour ordeal. That whole thing was a 24-hour ordeal. I didn't like that. That's why. That's why I enjoyed it. It's just when you come down to the cons, it does come down to straight editing because you could see a lot was taken out. Like for Diablo, his character really was great. The arc they gave him.
Diablo might be my favorite character in the entire movie.
And his story was so sad.
Yeah.
Because even in the bar scene, you find out the story of how Diablo got captured. Because at the beginning, Amanda Waller goes into it and just said, "Oh, he gave himself up," and it's like, okay, this guy who was a big criminal, boss deal. But then they explain it, and I was like, and all the villains were like, "Dude, you're fucking evil. You are evil." And I was like, damn! And then there was a couple scenes afterwards where it was like, oh, we could have used some stuff to earn that line. To earn the whole, I lost one family. I'm not going to lose another.
This whole movie is one battle, okay?
We missed one scene. We missed a scene.
You know what would be great is if, you showed the Suicide Squad going on all these missions, and they're hating it.
Oh, montage?
Yeah. Actual Black Ops missions getting used for what they're supposed to do. Maybe then the big dumb laser in the sky battle would have been earned better.
Oh yeah, this movie had a lot of unearned lines and events and scenes take place.
Also, this is very clearly Harley Quinn and Deadshot's movie.
Yeah, we knew that.
I didn't get a sense of even in Guardians of the Galaxy.
You didn't get a sense of a squad.
I didn't get a sense of a squad. Even in Guardians of the Galaxy, while Chris Pratt is the lead, I feel like I really got to know Groot, Drax, Rocket, Gamora. I really felt like I got to know those 5 people, and I was just in with this group. It's like Deadshot, Harley Quinn. I know those guys.
And then Diablo.
Yeah. I got to know you more. Samurai Girl didn't give a fuck about her. They tacked on the first sentence of her Wikipedia page as like, oh, this is why she is the way she is. And I'm thinking, I think there was more to that. I feel like there was more to all of these characters. Like, all those, like, flashback scenes that they had, like, the top 40 hits, which, oh my god, it's like they... With the music, it's like they got, like, the royalties to all these 70 songs. There's, like, Guardians of the Galaxy had, like, 70 songs, so we'll get as much 70s pop songs as possible. All right, which ones we're gonna use? I don't know. I can't decide. I don't have time. Let's just throw them all in. And we'll see which one catches. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
So... it's like they rush through all their backstories. It's like all done and like.
But they didn't even give them all backstories. They just gave them
all of them.
Yeah.
Like when Slipknot came, I'm thinking that guy's gonna die.
Yeah.
They're gonna do the scene where they demonstrate that yes, we can blow up people's heads. Mm-hmm. Slipknot's gonna die. Sorry, spoiler. Well, we're spoiling. Fucking. Slipknot's gonna die because he doesn't have a backstory, so therefore we don't care about him. At least at Katana, they tacked on like a little backstory, whatever.
Her husband.
It felt like it was supposed to be part of a bigger scene, but then got cut.
Yeah, there's more.
There's so much more to all those scenes.
Because you said that in the trailer, they showed. Remember her eyes going fully black, her pupils like dilating to expanding the whole eyeball.
Oh yeah,
that never happened. Actually, a lot of stuff from the last 2 trailers, not because the first teaser obviously was a part of the original cut, but the last 2 that were part of the new cut, a lot of them weren't in this movie. Like the Joker, half his face burned, holding a grenade and a gun. I wanted to see that because we see a helicopter crash with a minute.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Saying, there's a lot. It was the big main problem was the editing, and that is what hinders and hurts what really you could tell was going to be a good movie.
Yeah. Also, one thing, and this
could have been a good movie.
And one kind of final complaint. This is actually my biggest complaint coming out of the theater.
Okay.
And full disclosure, this is one of those. I've always said before. Like I remember Batman v Superman. We ranted about about comic book fans with their minuscule complaints. Well, this is one of them. So take this with a grain of salt. I didn't like Harley and Joker's relationship.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because in the comics, God help me.
No, sorry, not the comics. In every...
Oh, yeah. I should say in the TV show, because that's where we first saw those
and the comics, and the video games, and everything but this movie.
Joker is abusive. There is nothing romantic, and I feel like a bunch of idiots, a bunch of poser nerds are going to go to Comic-Con like, oh, yes, I'm with my boyfriend, and he's the Joker. Aren't we so in love?
Your boyfriend beats you up.
It's such a great relationship, Joker and Harley. It's so great. No, it's not.
No.
Joker's an ass to Harley.
She's basically...
He's abusive to her in all ways.
And she's like a cult member. She's just idolizes, worships.
She's literally hopelessly in love with him.
It's unrequited love.
Because she's mentally ill. I'm not going to say her name out loud, but Harley Quinn reminds me a lot of... I'm just going to say this, my ex-girlfriend in high school.
Oh, because of the craziness? Yeah.
How crazy, codependent.
And that's the thing they didn't hit on. I felt like Harley Quinn was more Joker than Joker. And there have been tiny peppered moments throughout all of the comic books, video games, and TV of Joker showing some affection, but it switches so quickly where you're so caught off.
Joker's not really... The way I understand Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship as it should be, Joker doesn't really love her. He uses her. Even for his own personal things.
He's putting a gun to her head multiple times just to escape Batman's clutches.
Yeah. He's really in love with? Batman. Because Batman's like his polar opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's obsessed with that. He's obsessed with disorder fighting order. Doesn't really care about Harley as much as Harley cares about him.
No. If anything, Batman is more kind of cares for Harley more than the Joker, as we've seen in some moments of their lore. But yeah, it is.
So it didn't do that. It really, from what I heard, I've heard a rumor that it would actually the original cut explored that a bit, but then we saw the hacked up version. But I don't know. For all I know, that's not true. I would have to see it.
Yeah, you need
to
see
it. But it makes me wonder if David Ayer really understood that relationship, or maybe he did and just said, fuck it, I'm changing it because the DC's letting me change it. That Joker and Harley have a thing. Like that whole thing where she jumps into the pile of what some people are calling horse semen.
It's a toxic. It's the same thing that
changed chemical.
Same thing that changed Joker.
Yeah, which you would only know that if you read the comics because the movie didn't make that significant at all. And he's like, I'm gonna go get her. I really don't understand how that changed Harley's appearance that much. It's like, oh, she's whiter than she is already. I guess her hair is white. I don't understand what those swirling colors are for. It's just like the director saying, oh, that looks cool. I'm gonna put that in.
That's the thing. Hitting on what you said though about when it comes to comic book fans being upset by certain things done, like we talked about in Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
The thing about it is these movies are made, yes, understand for the public, but they're made because you already have a fan base, the comic book fans. And then now this is your chance to get the comic book fans to take friends who aren't fans of comics to get involved, so the community of comic book fans grows in every sense of medium that is a comic book that it has. So that's why when you said about the Joker and Harley's relationship, I agree with that. It's like the thing is this: all superhero movies, besides the ones that are like obviously brand new ones, like for example Hancock, but everything else that we know that comes out of Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, they're not original pieces of work. No. They've been around for decades, almost centuries. And the thing about it is, if you want to create...
Well, I guess if we're talking about Greek mythology...
No, I mean, sorry. Almost a century. All right, almost.
Okay,
almost,
right.
sorry. Decades and almost a century.
Yeah.
These have been published. Everyone knows about them since the start of the Second World War, basically. And so you can't go like, I'm going to create something new. It's like, okay, you can put them in a situation that's new, but as long as the character is the same. The dynamic relationship, Harley and Joker, that's not like the comic books. That's what I understand. That's what I get. Deadshot.
New character.
Deadshot. Even though I don't know anything about Deadshot, I guarantee 100% that is not how Deadshot acts. Nothing against Will Smith, but if you really wanted to have the perfect Deadshot performance...
He did have a family. I know that he does have like a family, and that's why he got put in prison in the first place, because he's like kills for money, and therefore he sends the money to his family. That's like his light side. I don't really know how much.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think it's like Robert Downey Jr. It's like he made it his own.
I'm saying if you wanted someone to portray the character as faithfully in the comic books, Will Smith should not have been your choice to pick, because Will Smith will always act like Will Smith. Like Margot Robbie, she did represent what Harley Quinn was.
I just care about them making a good... Yeah. So the Harley Quinn-Joker relationship, that is kind of a nitpick on my end, and I will admit. But I feel like I can slightly justify it by Joker not having a big part in this movie, and the whole basis of him is the significance of his presence in the movie just being, hey, look, there's Joker. Hey, everybody, look, we got Joker in this movie. Yay! Because you could have taken this movie out, and with the exception of that stupid cliffhanger ending that's like obviously sequel bait, the movie would have been... The movie would have run the same way. Did not... In this version of the movie that we saw, Joker did not need to be in it. They could have completely cut him. I feel like the only reason they kept him was because they had Jared Leto and they needed to justify his paycheck somehow.
Probably. But yeah. So, overall, when it comes to this movie, I say see it, because since the DC Universe franchise is still at its beginning, and a lot more are going to be coming in, like Justice League, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Justice League Part 2, I say see it just because we're going to get a lot of this. And I think this was, like I said, it wasn't bad, wasn't great, it was good. It's fun.
I say I'm writing this whole. I'm still writing this whole universe off. Like the beginning of this movie when they revealed that Superman died. You know what I did? I pretended that something else happened entirely that allowed for Superman to die. I felt in order to enjoy this movie and to enjoy it with the context of those references, I'm going to pretend the events of Dawn of Justice never happened and some piece of fan fiction happened instead. Because Dawn of Justice was so dumb, so stupid, that I couldn't accept the universe as real. Yeah. I couldn't accept this as a real universe, a real world. Mm-hmm. It's so contrived. And I feel like I have to... But I feel like coming out of this movie, I kind of have to do the same with this one. It's like I'm still in that...
Because since they're all connected, it's like I still feel the same. Because these movies are connected.
Yeah, well, this movie was just like... Again, there were a lot of really dumb stuff in this movie that they established, and I felt like I can't accept this universe as a universe. I can only see this as a movie that was made by a bunch of people. I can only accept it as like a technical thing, a material thing.
Okay.
I can't accept this as a story that takes place in a larger universe. I can't accept this universe yet. Maybe Wonder Woman will change my mind, but there's also the ideology of 3 strikes.
You're out. That's it. Baseball rules are always good, right?
I'll probably still see the other DC movies, but my expectations are like I'm like kind of maybe not Wonder Woman. I have hopes for Wonder Woman, even though I don't think the new management of DC has taken over yet. By the time Wonder Woman was made, so it's probably still gonna suck ass. And Zack Snyder's name attached to Justice League, so I'm still expecting that movie to suck ass. I don't care how much shorting of the leash that they've been doing with the stuff like, they're adding more jokes as that trailer showed it from Comic-Con. Yeah, I'm still like a smidgen away from hate watching this whole universe as it comes out for me.
Okay.
DC TV, CW, all the way!
Well, and that wraps us up here for combo number 2 on our this episode. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I'm Tom Flores.
I'm Travis Baker.
We'll catch you on the next time. Thank you once again.
Bye.
Bye.